Hey, what's up, guys and girls? This is Midori, and I'm back with another episode of Draw Midori. Now, today I am working with Cyberpunk 2077, and this is a pretty much very in-demand game. Everybody's waiting for it. It's probably going to come out in 2020, and I'm pretty much excited for this game. And I had to do a drawing on this game, and I just love the style. Everything screams the 80s and early 90s with the techno style, the Blade Runner-ish. And the game was originally created by well, the original game was created by I think it's Mike Podsmith is the guy's name, and his personality and everything he's about is pretty much straight out of the 80s. Like everything about the way he carries himself and the way he dresses, and but onto the drawing. The character I'm working with is the one of the well, it's in this game. There's no like stock character. You have to create your own character, but the characters that you're seeing in all of the trailers, and they're like the default characters. And because this game is an RPG like The Witcher, so you'll be able to create your own. But I'm going to be drawing the stock V character, female V character, from the game that you see in the trailers. And one thing I like about her look is that it's so 80s in style. Like, she has the Michael Jackson jacket on, just different color. Same thing with the Akira animes. Like, everything in the 80s was so ahead of its time in terms of the style, like very futuristic and very punk, with a little bit of hip hop in there. you know um, it's just I'm an 80s baby. I didn't grow up in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s, but I admire everything from the 80s when it comes to movies and art and fashion and style. And with this V character, her hair is pretty much, she kind of have that Rihanna look. Well, I can't really say Rihanna because people have been doing the whole half shaved head for decades now. So, but yeah, I like the look. I'll be curious to see what type of hairstyles you can use in the game. But I decided to stick with the default hairstyle, same thing that you see in the trailers. So that's what I'm going by. So right now, I pretty much, the stage I am in the drawing is I got the basic outline done, the basic pencil outline done with a I believe a 2H, no, an HB pencil. So right now I'm just adjusting the picture to make sure that everything is right. So now that I have the camera angles right, I'm going back and just adding a little bit more detail to the drawing. So, not just to be mindful, I'm not going to go too much in detail. That's pretty much for the inking stages. So this is just to get a rough idea of what I'm going to be drawing. So now I'm going over the first pass, which I call the first pass, with the Copic outliner. And this is a sort of a medium thickness outliner. So it's not too heavy and it's not too thin, but for a lot of the smaller details, I'm going to use a very thin Copic outliner. Now, in terms of the look of the character, when I do portraits, they tend to not look 100% like what I'm drawing. They always end up looking like my interpretation of the character, if that makes sense, or of the person. It's always going to be somewhat look like the character, but at the same time sort of stylized, but not too stylized. Just my like artist license on the character, because I tend to draw eyes really big and mouths really small, so that, you know, it's a little bit different from how she looks exactly in the game. And here I'm just erasing some of the details, um, erasing away some of the pencil marks that you know, I no longer need, because the pencil marks are just guides. And here I am starting off the, you know, the beginning inking stage with a, you know, two of the Japanese brushes I have. One is a Fudo brush, and I believe I forgot the other name of a Japanese brush. I decided not to do too much highlights in her hair because you know, I kind of wanted her hair to pop a little bit more, so you're gonna see that I kind of just left it you know, black, pitch black for the most part. Here I'm starting off the basic phase 2. Well, no, this is not phase 2, this is actually phase 3, but this is phase 3 of my drawing process, but this is technically phase 1 of the coloring process. So I'm just going over the first layer of the skin texture, and as you can see from her character design or images from the game, her skin is sort of like a rosy peach. So I decided to start with a very light peach orangey color, and then I'm gonna go over it, you know, with other colors and other values, to try to somewhat mimic of what I'm seeing on screen. Because I believe that from the screenshot and from, you know, from the in-game, like her skin sort of reflect and reflect. Is it reflect? I forgot the name for it. There's reflection and there's refraction. Yes. So her skin refracts a lot of the light that's around her, so it's sort of bouncing in and out of her skin, if that makes sense. So it's like some of the light is sort of going through her skin and some of it is being bounced off. So a lot of the orange is coming from the light source that's around her. Also, some of the orange is coming from the glow that's like the neon orange that's inside of her jacket, that's bouncing back up onto her face. So you're going to see that a little bit later on. I'm going to add that. So this is sort of like stage 2 of the coloring process. Really going in with the darker orange. The first pass of her eyes, blocking in the eyebrows. I'll say at this point this drawing is pretty much like this drawing is like 45% done, 45, 50% done. Also, I kind of went again, like creative license. In the screen grab, you can see that she also has like, it sort of looks like she has like makeup on, sort of like mascara or eyeliner around her eyes, and it's sort of this turquoise color, and I kind of just took my own creative license on it and just went overboard on the makeup, but I actually kind of liked the way it came out, because it's sort of like instead of it just being just like makeup to be cool, it's more meaningful to me. Like it's almost look like it's tribal, you know. So and here I'm just adding more detail, more shadows. That's under her nose. This is this was like phase. This is like phase 4 or phase 3 of the coloring process. Going really deep into the shadows now. Like I already did the majority of the bounce light, um, the refraction, if I can say it correctly, and now I'm working with a lot of the shadows. Well, right here I'm really working on the neon glow of the jacket. So this is what I was talking about earlier with the bounce light from her jacket and the environment. Now also, to like when you're working with Copic markers, like sometimes it's not as simple as like a coloring book. You always have to think of it as painting, and how which color would mix and mix and match well with each other. So I'm using this really light gray to add shadow. It also reflects some of the material um, that her jacket is made of. Also would go good with the background. So it's like there's a lot of green and gray in her environment, so that's going to affect a lot of the shadows that you're seeing. So it's not necessarily straight black. It's more on reflecting or mimicking the environment. And it's pretty much done. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. Be sure to look out for more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Smash that like button, as a matter of fact. I will try to do about 1 to 2 videos a week. Next up, I think I'll be doing street charades. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a great day.